Welcome, welcome, welcome. Watch the game. Coming a little different tonight. Set up at the bar pen.
I see you. I see you.
Now we
In the
can kind of synchronize, and I can actually watch the game from right here.
yeah, I got
So
the lowly White Sox on my TV. This bottom of the first is tied up 0-0. So I think they only won 6 games this year so far.
yeah, they took care of business for the Cubs. They I think they went to St. Louis and got 2 out of 3 up in St. Louis, and the Cubs were able to get 2 out of 3 from the Milwaukee Brewers. Craig Counsell going against his former team ended up getting the first series of the season from that team from Milwaukee, his former team.
Shout out to the Northsiders.
Yeah, a lot going on, Penn. As we just talked about MLB a little bit, that might be the most we're gonna talk about it. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot going on.
Yeah, my
Uh,
Yankees then cooled off. They started off hot and Soto was killing everything, but they actually in second
yeah.
place behind the Orioles right now. So and I got
E-
Orioles colors on. What am I doing? Come on,
hey,
man.
NBA playoffs, in my opinion, have officially started. Officially, even though we're in the second round, you know how I feel about the first round of the NBA playoffs. Only 5 games are needed, in my opinion. I mean, they're gonna go 7 to make the money. Best of 7 is, I think, is only one series went 7 games. That was Cleveland and Orlando. Probably two of the teams that probably needed a little bit more recognition. So they got to go 7. They went 7 games. Each team, each home team won these games, and Cleveland was able to come out game 7, and they set to match up with Boston in the Eastern Conference semis. And what I would like to say, the NBA playoffs, in my opinion, has officially begun. But that's not without saying there were some interesting things that have happened up to this point in the first round, considering who's gone and who didn't even get in. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about LeBron James,
Gone.
second round of the playoffs, gone.
Yep,
Steph Curry
gone.
didn't even make the playoffs.
No,
Kevin Durant gets
gone.
swept by Ant-Man and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Some interesting things when you look at the NBA as the second round of the playoffs have started. Minnesota going to Denver and get a big win. Ant-Man, after he swept KD in the Phoenix Suns, he go into Denver and put up 43 as
43.
the Minnesota Timberwolves beat the Denver Nuggets, and they're set to match up in game 2, I think tomorrow night. And tonight we have the Indiana Pacers in New York, and I'm wrong. We got Denver in Minnesota tonight in game 2
Yep.
in the Western Conference semifinals. So the second round of the playoffs is set. Some superstars, old school superstars gone. A little bit of passing of the torch, you might say,
Yeah,
going into this second round.
for sure. Because the guys that we've been used to seeing at least for the last decade plus, didn't even get to this point of the playoffs. So, but it's kind of refreshing though. It's kind of time because I don't think that we thought the Lakers was going to do anything other than be storylines for us in the playoffs, to keep that LeBron factor, that LeBron interest going. But as far as the best basketball, I don't think that they was one of the 8 best basketball teams in the NBA. So it's probably right that they're not here. Ant-Man is getting a lot of love right now, getting a lot of Mike Jordan comparison, a lot of Mike Jordan memes are floating around with Ant-Man recreating the poses and stuff. So you know what? And I'm actually cool with it because he's out there and the dude is playing to win. He don't care who in front of him. He got that kind of Mike mentality, that Kobe mentality. So I'm liking it. And the mid-range fadeaway looks beautiful to me. Somebody is not jacking up threes every single time down the floor, so I'm loving that. And last but not least, every year in the NBA playoffs, we always have one series where no one gives two shits about it. And that was the Orlando Magic and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And
Yeah.
to prove our point, the home team won every game of that series. I put a tweet out the other day. I said the Orlando Magic fan base didn't even know that their team was in the playoffs when they tied it up at 2-2. You had Donovan Mitchell go for 50 in Game 6, and his team loses. Like, that's just a lot of bad, mediocre basketball, and that's why we are advocates of making the first round best of five again. Because
Five games, man.
you just
Best
wasted
of
our
five.
time with that. You wasted our time
Yeah.
with that.
Like I say, the most interesting thing about the first round was that LeBron is gone, and Kevin Durant is gone, and as well as when you were just throwing out guys with titles already, Kawhi Leonard didn't play,
I don't want to hear
and
his name no more.
and,
We
and
not
the
saying his
Clippers
name.
are gone. A lot of so-called superstars from maybe 5 or 6 years back, they're gone. And those guys, pretty much with LeBron and Steph and KD, kind of carried the league up to this point. And now we're in a position where tonight you got the Pacers going up against the Knicks.
Yep.
Some new stars are emerging in the NBA. Jalen Brunson and Halliburton. Jalen Brunson for the Knicks, Halliburton for the Pacers. Stars, just new stars, just emerging at this point. And this is a good, refreshing thing for the NBA to touch back on Anthony Edwards. I like his game. He's a two-way player right now. I see the comparison to Mike, some comparison to Kobe, but you know me, man. I need to see consistency. So I'm excited about seeing Anthony Edwards play this style of basketball and the new stars, all the new stars that are emerging. But hey, got to go win some championships to be put in that category with Kobe and Mike. And now it seems like the door's wide open. I mean, Denver, the defending champ. I mean, I expect for them to tie this thing up, get this series tied up, going into Minnesota, tied at a one game apiece. Um, but some interesting things about the Denver and Minnesota matchup, if you were able to catch it. I felt last year in the NBA Finals that the Miami Heat and
Denver.
Bam Adebayo
Yeah.
was not enough to defend Luca, not Luca, but the Joker.
Yeah.
I felt like you cannot let him just dribble the ball to a spot, do what the hell he want to do. But that was the biggest thing I seen, one of the biggest adjustments I seen from one series to the next, where the Minnesota Timberwolves were able to throw three different guys at him and wore him down, scored 32 points, but he worked for all 32 of those points. And I always felt like if he's gonna bring the ball up the court, pressure him like a guard. You can't guard him backing up, and that's what they did. They made him face up against three different defenders, wore him down. Ant Man took what they gave him. His shot selection was good. Um, he didn't settle for threes. In the closing moments, waning moments of the game, he was out there, getting to the rack. Gordon, Gordon's about what, 6'9"?
6'9", yeah.
Yeah, Gordon, Anthony Edwards. I think Anthony Edwards was about 6'5" at best. I don't think he's much taller than 6'6". But at 6'9", he figured out a way to get to the spot and get his shots off. Mid range, early in the game, he had the 3-point game going. Hey, big time effort from Anthony Edwards. I like his game, big time.
Man, the thing where I'm interested to see is I think Denver is finally about to get tested as being the defending champions, because a lot of Denver's mystique came because they beat the Lakers. What they had ran off like 9 or 10 straight versus the Lakers, and the Lakers finally won Game 4. And
It was
then
actually, I think it was actually
it was
11.
more than okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the Lakers won Game 4, and then they ended up getting a gentleman sweep in Game 5. So in the last two playoff series, it's 8-1, and a lot of Denver's mystique came because they beat LeBron. They beat the Lakers or whatnot. And when you turned on Game 1 the other night, you could see this is not the same Denver team, or this is not the same opponent that the Denver Nuggets have been playing, because, like you said, they was able to throw bodies at Joker. Aaron Gordon was able to guard LeBron, but LeBron's 39 years old. He can't put the pedal to the metal 48 minutes a game and really make Gordon. Like, Aaron Gordon's going to have some moments against him. But now you got this young bull out there, Anthony Edwards, who don't care who in front of him, don't care how big you are. He's getting to his spot. I know you saw him put Aaron Gordon on skates the other day, and that was a mid-range
Twice.
jumper. Yeah, that was a
Did it a
mid-range
couple
jumper.
times.
He's getting to the cup when he wants to. If he's coming off the screen on the screen roll, high screen and roll, he can hit the open three. Aaron Gordon is about to have his hands full for the rest of this series. And I think all of that high praise that he was getting for the effort that he, doled out on LeBron on the defensive end, that is going to be quickly and swiftly forgotten, because he's playing one of the top 5 offensive threats in the game. So I'm interested to see. I think Minnesota can pull this thing off. I think they can. I know you said last year that Denver won't repeat, and OKC and Minnesota was they had great regular seasons, but my rule is young teams that I don't get fooled by that, because you ain't been through the playoff wars yet. So I don't care what your seeding is going into the play. We saw the same thing with Sacramento last year. They had a great regular season, couldn't get out the first round because they ran into a team with championship pedigree and championship experience. They lost in 7 games on their home floor. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I think Minnesota can beat Denver. I'm not picking them to, win a championship or anything like that, but they are definitely going to push the Denver Nuggets, and we're going to see if the Denver Nuggets really have that championship mettle and desire to withstand this rainstorm, this firestorm that they about to go through. They already down 0-1.
Yes, and defend the championship. One of the biggest reasons why I didn't feel like Denver would repeat, because I didn't like how the Joker responded to becoming a champion last season, and I felt like if there's a script, if there's a script to be written, it won't be that one again. Now, with that being said, because he just did not feel he didn't look like he was very celebratory
He was ready to go
minutes after
home.
winning the championship.
Yeah,
He
he's ready to
said,
go home.
I'm just ready to go home. And that's not promoting the game. That's not promoting the league. And that's why I made that statement. And when I say that, I'm talking about the way he's going to be officiated and the way they're going to allow the guys to defend him. And I believe it's got a lot to do with how he perceives the game. And I don't really know if Joker really wants to be the face of the game.
No, I don't
So
think so. I don't
I
think so.
think that when it comes down to it, it may be some times where he will not get the call because of stuff like that. That's just how I feel. I just feel like he's not really promoting the game, and I don't think that they're going to call games to benefit him. When it all comes down to it. But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and go out on the limb because I gave it some thought, and I say, okay, before the playoffs started, who would I think would make the finals? And I'm thinking Minnesota, not Minnesota, Denver and Boston.
Right.
So
Okay.
I can't go back on my word. So if the Minnesota Timberwolves can pull it off, great, 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 great. But I just think that as far as matchups and as far as what people may want to see on television, I think they want to see the defending champions in the Boston Celtics, the Denver Nuggets in the Boston Celtics. I think that would be a pretty good matchup for the NBA Finals. But right now, Anthony Edwards might have something else to say about that.
Yeah, that's got to be a close second for Minnesota to get to the finals, because as long as this kid is in there, it's gonna just keep driving ratings up. Especially, people keep hearing the Mike comparisons, and you got the national media sports shows. They drumming this up, and they pushing it down our throat. So if we don't get Denver Boston, a close second might be Minnesota Boston.
Yeah.
I'm just
And
scrolling
and,
through
and
the
when you think
East.
about it, yeah, when you think
Yeah,
about Minnesota, might match up well with Boston.
yeah. Well, and speaking of Boston, I feel like Boston is about to get a bye in the second round, because I just went and talked to you about how Cleveland and Orlando, nobody cared about that series. The home team won every game in that series, and it was just drawn out. So I can see Boston winning this thing, gentlemen sweep in five. And the reason that they lose is
Yeah.
just because they don't bring the focus that they need to all the time, especially at home. They just got this weird home thing going on where they lose games that they should win. They blow leads. So Boston is going to cruise in that series and win in five. The Knicks and the Pacers. What's this, a throwback to Reggie Miller and Spike Lee in the 90s? We
Yeah.
back in 95? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I mean, expect
Yeah,
that to
we'll
go.
see.
I think that's going
Yeah.
to go seven, though. I think we in
Yeah,
for a
I
good
can see
series on
I
that.
can see that. I can
Yeah,
see that. I can see uh the Pacers and the Knicks going seven because both of these teams, when you talk about playoff experience, they might be around the same place, and they play really hard. They play really
yeah.
hard, both teams. Um, the Pacers, they play as their name. They play at a high pace. They really get the ball up and down the floor. They run. And the Knicks, they just play hard. They play hard. They feed off Jalen Brunson, and they just play hard. This is the team. You talk about Tom Thibodeau. This is the team that, when they say a team takes on their coach's identity.
Yeah.
This is it right here. The New York Knicks have taken on the identity of the coach and the city,
Mm-hmm.
because when you looked at the Philadelphia series with the Knicks and the Sixers, you would think that the Sixers had more talent than the Knicks. Now Julius Randle is out.
I would say
I
they had the
mean,
best player. I wouldn't say that they, from top to bottom, their team was more talented than the Knicks, though.
we talk about Maxey, you talk about Embiid. The guy that let the Sixers down, in my opinion, was Tobias Harris.
J. Cole, yeah.
Yeah, if Tobias Harris plays a better series, they probably win that series. You can tell. I think he had one good game in the series, but like you said, good matchup with the Knicks and the Pacers. You picking it to go seven. I can see that happening as well. Um, and then tomorrow night we can step over to the next. Also in the second round, we talk about Boston and the Cavaliers going at it in Boston. I can see that going five as well, because I do think the Cavaliers, Donovan Mitchell, will get one game. But Donovan Mitchell he can be sort of like Anthony Edwards as well if he gets going. And and I don't know, he can actually go in there and be mentally tough, and he can actually will them to two victories. The question is, the guys Darius Garland and Mobley, the other two guys in the start. I think they're both in the start lineup. Darius Garland came through in the fourth quarter against the Orlando Magic. I think he scored 10 or 12 of his. I think he had 12. I think he finished up with 14 or 15 points. I think he scored like 12 or 13 in the fourth quarter. And if he steps up, then I could see Boston winning in six, because it's most definitely going to take more than Donovan Mitchell. But I can most definitely see Donovan Mitchell going at the Celtics hard. I can see a couple scuffles as well.
couple scuffles. Hey,
Oh
what?
man, yeah, Donovan Mitchell for sure. I can see him going at them pretty hard. Now the question is, Darius Garland gonna bring it, and Mobley. If they come to play, then everything this series can be really really good. But those two guys need to step up. As Struess also has the experience, maybe
But he,
he'll have some good shooting nights.
but his jumper always just go cold in the playoffs. I've seen it the last 2 years with Miami, and then I watched. I think that was Game 4, Orlando and the Cavs, and he was out there broke again. He finally hit one, but I mean, Strus, you just got big money, in last
Yeah.
offseason and I mean the Heat made him just like the Heat made Gabe Vincent and they got him paid. I ain't hate nobody's pockets or whatever, but
Yeah.
this it's just the norm when springtime comes around. His jumper just it's nowhere to be found. It's nowhere to be
Yeah.
found.
And you would think going to Cleveland, he got plenty of time to focus. He ain't in Miami no more. You know what I'm saying? He can focus in Cleveland.
It ain't like they filming Bad Boys 4 down there. You know what I'm saying? Like he get into the arena. They got the Guardians, not the Indians, the Guardians.
Hmm. But then we got who else in the West? We got
Kyrie,
OKC and Dallas matching up. Now, I'm not particularly a big fan of watching Luka Doncic. I really hate to watch him play on the defensive end just as much as I hate watching the Joker play on the defensive end. It just seems like they just play to stay out the way. You know what I'm saying? And just stay out of foul trouble. And then when especially with Luca, when he does decide to play defense, he just fouls. He just fouls. I don't really enjoy watching him play basketball. I can appreciate his ability to score, but on the defensive end, I'm like, man, this dude, he just be dogging it sometimes. But Dallas, OKC, then they have the best record in the West.
they did. They the number one seed.
And Shea Gilchrist,
Alexander.
Alexander. Man, I mean, just another superstar that's just a new superstar emerging on the scene. It's gonna be interesting to see. I can't really. I'm gonna say OKC gonna win that, but I don't see OKC getting out the West.
Okay, you got OKC getting to the Western Finals. I got
Yes.
OKC. This is the end of the road for them. I think Dallas is going to pull this thing off in 6 games. The trades that they made at the deadline, picking up PJ Washington and how that roster has developed, and the pairing of Kyrie and Luka, because I thought it was a disaster last year, but it's been beautiful this year. I think they're gonna get it done in 6 games. Again, shout out to my boy Jay Hill, my engineer. Kyrie, because we always have this argument on Kyrie and Steph. I'm a Kyrie guy. He picks Steph, and we spend about 45 minutes arguing before we even do any music. So I need a personal bias here. I just need Dallas to stay alive, so just I can hang that over his head every time I see him. So, but I'm picking Dallas to win that in 6 games again for the same reason. OKC, young team. You don't just come into the playoffs and just get to the finals and win it. It just don't happen
Nope.
like that. There's stepping stones. There's dues that have to be paid. All the way back, you go back to the Pistons in the 80s. You go back to the Lakers with Magic, right? Well, no, Magic won as a rookie, but
Yeah.
but the Pistons had to pay dues.
Jordan,
The Bulls,
Isaiah,
everybody had
they
to pay
paid
dues.
their dues. I don't, as much as they argue about it,
Shaq,
who's the
yeah,
best. They
Shaq
both
and the
took six,
Lakers.
7 years before they won their first championship. That's why I wish Isaiah and Mike would just squash the bullshit. To be honest with you, I mean it'll be. I believe, like I told you, I believe that if Mike and Isaiah went on and did a interview together
Mm-hmm.
and just talked it out, they get more ratings than any NBA matchup that we can call out today.
Oh yeah.
I guarantee you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Just squash the bullshit and you know what I'm saying and make the money. Damn. You know what
But
I'm saying, man? Do you know how much money Mike and Isaiah can make right now just if they just decided to just do a documentary and squash the bullshit? Let's see.
Mike, he ain't gonna do it. Number one, two, Isaiah still butthurt that he wasn't on the dream team. Three,
Yeah,
Mike is his focus is 2311 Racing. Shout out to them because they just won the Talladega 500 about 2 weeks ago. Mike was on there picking up people's kids and had the gray and the goatee. I'm like, this is not my hero. I don't know who this guy is, but
yeah,
Mike ain't thinking about Isaiah. Isaiah thinking about Mike though. It's clear
yeah,
he's thinking about Mike.
yeah. It would be nice to see them bury that hatchet, man. To be honest with you, I mean, just hell, both great basketball players. But hey, who am I? I mean, you know what I'm saying. I just think that it would work, and I just think that people would tune in to them way more than they tune into any basketball game nowadays because it's been years and years of them just griping over the same. What's been 40 years?
Let's see, that was 91. 92 was the dream team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been about what 30 years, something like that.
30. Yeah,
Come on,
30
man,
years.
get over it.
32
Make
of
the
them.
money.
Yeah, yeah.
Make the money. Make the money. Go do it. We did. Mike, you had the last dance. Now you can have the last word. Damn. Go make the money. But moving on a little bit, did you get a chance to see uh Caitlin Clark played in her first WNBA preseason game? If you're trying to promote the player, promote the player. They dropped the ball. The WNBA dropped the ball. I was able to see it, but someone filmed it or someone streamed it on YouTube, and that's how I was able to see it. But from what I understand, they had a big time with the services as far as I think it was the I don't know if it was the WNBA or the NBA League Pass or whatever, but they just dropped the ball with this Caitlin Clark game. But she put up like 21 points. I think she went she shot double digit 3 pointers. I can't remember what her field goal percentage was and what she was from the field, but I know she took one mid range jump shot. Everything else was
3.
3 pointers. Now, I question with her going into the league is when you watched her in college, she took, in my opinion, a lot of bad shots. Now, don't get me wrong, quite a few of them went in, but you wonder, and I would think they probably will. You wonder if they're going to allow her or her teammates or the coaching staff is going to allow her to take those shots. I think maybe if it affects winning, maybe. But if they're not winning, they
Yeah,
lost that first preseason game by two, I think.
about 2. Yep.
But if it's not affecting winning, come on, I think she's going to have to kind of change her shot selection. Great ball player,
At
though. I
least
mean,
at least
mhm.
this rookie year, at least her first season. She's not gonna be able to be, I don't think, the Caitlin Clark that we saw at Iowa the last 2 years. One, because you know the other players in the WNBA, they see the hype she coming in with, and they coming with, you gonna have to show me attitude. They gonna be physical with her. They gonna, hey, this is a grown woman game. This is different than what you was playing in the Big Ten. And I think she's gonna have some growing pains. And the fact that you said if she only shot one, like 2-point jump shot, I think that may be telling because maybe she can't get to the stuff that she was able to get at Iowa because everybody's a little bit faster, everybody's a little bit stronger, and she's gonna have to adjust to the game. So I'm interested to see how her rookie year pans out. But I don't. It's
I
all.
mean, she has a pretty good handle. I think she settles. I don't think she's going to have a problem getting to the spots, but I don't want to see her settle. But if she get caught up in the entertainment factor of just shooting the three ball, she better hit a lot of them. And if they're not winning, I can see it being a problem. You know what I'm saying? From a team perspective, as far as our teammates. But WNB, I think they're gonna show 36 of her 40 games
On
in
national
the
TV.
WNBA are
Yeah,
gonna be on national TV. I'm wondering how they're gonna double because I know there's gonna be some double headers in that, and how many of those double headers will involve the Las Vegas Aces, the defending champions, and the Chicago Sky, because those are two of the teams, along with Caitlin Clark coming into the league, and Angel Reese and Cardoza going to Chicago. The defending champion Las Vegas Aces and Caitlin, not Caitlin, but Angel Reese and Cardoza going to Chicago. You got to think that you're going to see a lot of the Chicago Sky as well as a lot of the defending champions.
Yeah, and Asia Wilson sound like she got an axe to grind. I just saw that Nike came out and gave Caitlin Clark all that money. And
Yeah,
Asia Wilson was the MVP and won the championship, and she don't have I think she don't have a Nike deal or something like that. And I think she had some comments about that, so that's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. Uh, I, it's funny because I was so sick of just Angel Reese after they won the championship 2 years ago, and how she was just plastered
yeah,
everywhere, and how they was just they was trying to make her a villain and at the same time glorifying her to grow the women's game. And now all of a sudden here she is in Chicago, and I'm like, I got to deal with her again. But at least she went to Harold's Chicken, and she know the Harold's is fire. So I'm gonna
yeah.
give you Angel Reese. Hey, at least you on the right foot with me so far.
I don't. I think Chicago and maybe New York. It was only three places I think Angel Reese could have landed in the WNBA: Chicago, New York, or LA. I mean, because even more so than Caitlin Clark, she's more charismatic. She's got a lot of charisma. She's going to push. She just got it, man. She got it, and she could sell. She's selling more than basketball, of course.
Yeah, and I'm sick of it. But keep going.
But I just think it is only three places she can land. I think with her falling in the draft, if you want to say she fell in the draft, I think that can kind of motivate her to work on her game as far as her mid-range game to maybe even the 3 point out on the perimeter. And she is playing with my girl Dana Evans,
Yeah, yeah.
okay? Tippy from Gary, Indiana. So with Cardosa and Dana and the Spoon Witherspoon, Teresa. I think Teresa Witherspoon is coaching that team. Uh, it'll be interesting to see how much TV time they get because those are the two players along with Cardoza. I don't want to overlook Cardoza. She's a national champion as well. But I think the WNBA is set up to market this game from this point on. Now, don't drop the ball. And they got the girls in the college game that is coming up. What's her name? Juju.
Juju, yeah, at
Yeah,
USC, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Juju at USC. So the college game got a couple stars ready to come up. The girl from UConn, I think she stayed back,
Caitlin,
and
not Caitlin. What's her name? Beckers, Paige Beckers.
yeah, yeah. So they got a couple more stars, um, to promote these next coming seasons. But I think the Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, I think they're gonna be. They got 2 years. They got 2 years to push this thing forward and expand on it. And if it don't happen in the next 2 year, 3 year window, the WNBA might still be in a situation where they're not really turning a profit. But we'll see how that goes because the Sky tickets have been selling out, from what I understand, and I've had a chance to go to quite a few Sky games over the past few years, so might not
Is
get
it?
a chance this year.
I'm a try and go just to say I went. But my question to you, because I know how it is going to the NBA basketball game. Watching the NBA basketball game on TV is much better than actually going. I don't even care unless you're on the floor seats if you courtside. But if you just 100 level, 200 level, it's quiet in there. It's very quiet in there. So is the WNBA in person like that too?
It's good basketball though. If you're a basketball purist, It's good basketball, but you're right. Watching it on TV is a lot different from. I'm like that with the NBA as well. Um, if you ask me, like I said, if you ask me, what would I rather go see? It'd be NFL, MLB, then NBA. You know what I'm saying? If you want to throw college in there, college football is a close second, and then college basketball is third. And then then you go off to the pro sports. But NFL football, college basketball, and then we start going into maybe the MLB and then the NBA and the WNBA. The reason why is because you don't really feel connected to the game, with all of the other stuff going on with the as the game is going on, the music that's playing, it's more of a. I get the entertainment factor, but you don't feel connected to the game as much as you do with an NFL football game, college football game, college basketball game. You're more connected to what's going on the floor. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But like you said, we'll see, man. They got a couple years to get that thing rolling, and then we'll see what a WNBA is in the next 2 to 3 years. They got to capitalize on this, and they dropped the ball with Caitlin Clark and the Chicago Sky and Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever and Angel Reese and the Chicago Skies first preseason game. That should have been on. Those games should have been on, but um. Some things you probably have not checked out. Um, I know you have not probably have not watched any UFL,
I know.
United Football League.
No.
But my transportation's been acting crazy the last week, so I've been able to sit down and kind of watch a few more things. And I come across the UFL, and I think the just to give you some insight, the UFL is set up of, I guess, the two leagues that I guess they formed them together. You got 10-game season, you got the XFL conference, and you got the USFL conference. And in the XFL conference, the St. Louis Battlehawks they are in first place at 5-1. Now, why do I bring up the St. Louis Battlehawks? Because they have probably one of my favorite backup quarterbacks, AJ McCarron. And AJ McCarron is leading the St. Louis Battlehawks, into the playoffs in the UFL. And they also got what's his name? Hakeem Butler, 6'5", 225 pounds. He's one of his big time receivers. Now, the reason why I'm watching this because I'm trying to pay attention to see who will who's going to get the opportunity to go to the NFL. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be honest with you, they playing a pretty good brand of football. They got some interesting things as far as how they broadcast the games, give you a little insight on what the coaches are calling, and they got some rule changes that I think the NFL took in, and that the NFL is going to implement this year. I think is with the kickoff or the punt return.
I think it's the kickoff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they got that rule. They got a new rule from the one of these leagues, the UFL or the XFL, USFL. Um, some good news though. Your Michigan Panthers, your Michigan Panthers, they 4-2. I say, well, I think you'd be happy to see that, happy to hear that your Michigan Panthers are 4-2. The
Hey,
Birmingham Stallions are 6-0, but that's enough UFL for me.
you
I just
listen.
wanted to point out that AJ McCarron at 33 years old is still doing it.
Yeah, I just looked up his salary because I was interested to see how much he making. Now, when he was with Cincinnati, he signed a 4-year, $2.4 million contract with the Bengals, $181,000 signing bonus. He made $60,000 playing for the Battlehawks last year. You just said he's 33 years old. So
Yeah.
I think I was having this conversation with Cutter Pac-Man like last week. Like, what other than the love for the game? What is making these guys play or an opportunity to get back to the NFL? But AJ McCarron, you a two-time college national champion, like I said, you got you some NFL money. You 33 years old. You just love the game. You just love the game to play
Exactly.
for the St. Louis Battlehawks. You don't want to. I get it, but I don't get it. 'Cause
I'm willing to bet that AJ McCarron can still be a backup in the NFL. I
oh,
just really think
yeah,
so.
yeah. You know what? And just to bring it back home, I would take AJ McCarron over what's my man that got all the pub last year that took over for Justin. I can't call his name now.
Oh,
Uh,
Tyson Bagent.
yeah, I would take AJ McCarron over him right now.
And that's why not so much because of I wasn't happy with Tyson Bagent, but when you look at the quarterback
Just to
carousels
play,
throughout the
yeah.
league, and I look at AJ McCarron out here with the St. Louis Battlehawks, I'm like, he looks like he's still in pretty good shape, and I thought he was a little bit older than 33 years old. I'm like, why isn't he still in the NFL as a backup? I mean, Matt Barkley, I don't know if Matt Barkley is still around, but I know he was around maybe as of 1 or 2 years ago. But I just think AJ McCarron could still be a backup in the NFL. Maybe he doesn't want. Maybe he wants to play. I don't know. Maybe he wants to be on the
And
field
that's
and
what I'm
play.
saying. I don't understand at that point, at that age, at that salary, like why am I continuing to still, train my body and go through this, take these hits and go through this. I just don't get it. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. If that makes any sense. I get it, but I don't get it. Because it's different if AJ McCarron is 23, 24 years old. You know what I mean? He's trying to get his opportunity to get back to the league. But again, two-time college national champion. You was drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. You had a contract, $2.4 million, and now you 33 and you just like to sling it.
For the love of the game, you
I
know.
guess going in the backyard and playing Thanksgiving turkey football just wasn't enough for him.
And he throwing the ball to once again. I said Hakeem Butler, 6'5", 225 pounds. He'll be 28 in a few days, but he's a big receiver having his way in the UFL right now, and that's why I'm thinking between him and AJ McCarron, they should be getting a call. And I don't know if their contracts allow them to spill over into the NFL, but that was just as I was watching the games, I'm like, why in the hell is AJ McCarron not still in the league? Kind of like why Dwight Howard is not still in the NBA. I mean, but that's a whole different, whole different situation, whole different subject. Um, but tonight, man, the thing we had to come up. It's interesting we talking about football because one of the biggest things we wanted to talk about, uh, leaving each other last week, was Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles. And it's interesting that we had that conversation last week, and then we come into this week, and between now and then, I've actually heard whether or not Matt Eberflus is close to getting is he closer, in your opinion, to getting an extension or getting fired?
I would say, I would say he's closer to being shown the door, um, because the reason they was justifying getting rid of Justin or moving on from Justin was one was the salary cap. He hadn't shown enough to pay him $45 million or whatever his salary was going to demand for that level of quarterback play and performance. Okay, so now you get rid of Justin, you bring in Caleb Williams. He's on a rookie deal, but you retain the head coach. If we're doing that, if our reason for getting rid of Justin was a quote unquote salary cap move or putting everybody on the same timeline, then you can't justify Eberflus being here still to this day. His first year, okay, we know they were still breaking things down and stripping it down to the studs, and it was a rebuild. What was his record his first year? They won what, 3 games, 4? Three
Three, I
games,
believe.
and they had the number 1 pick. Then they come back
And
the next
Justin
year,
Fields was the reason why they won all three of the games.
right?
Right.
Then they come back the next year, they get off to a horrible start. You had the defensive coordinator, Alan Williams, that situation. You had another staff member that had a
Fired.
situation that had to be relieved in the middle of the year. And then it was the defense started playing better when he started to call the defensive plays. So that shows
Yep.
me he's a defensive coordinator. That does not show me that he can be the CEO or the buck stops here of a NFL, especially a charter franchise in the NFL. That did not warrant him keeping his job one extra year. Now, it's interesting that you brought this to my attention, that Eberflus and Poles have the same agent. So it may be some, CYA, I'm going to look out for you, you look out for me, going on right there. But like it's just the thought process of everybody being on the same timeline. I don't understand why you didn't marry a coach and the first pick together and Rome Odunze together for, going forward of what these new Chicago Bears are going to look like with the new stadium, everything. But you choose to keep Eberflus. I just don't understand that. So I would say he's closer to being shown the door than getting an extension.
So you mentioned that, and then the firing of Alan Williams, and then he takes over as defensive coordinator, and going into the week 4 game against Washington, week 4, week 5, we talked about it before, and you can say Justin Fields and DJ Moore single handedly, or two hands, four hands on deck, saved his job that night
Yeah.
because everybody thought that he was on the hot seat at that point. And most recently, you're getting some reports that Ryan Poles is saying he was never really on the hot seat. And that's when I think about the fact that they do have the same agent. And as I watch and listen to the Chicago sports media, no one's talking about that. No one's talking about that.
Right.
So in my opinion, especially when you talk about the head coaching candidates that were out there, they answered it relatively quick. We're keeping Matt Eberflus.
Didn't even talk
And
to
there
Jim
were
Harbaugh. I didn't want him
that's what
there.
I'm getting.
Yeah.
As you didn't want him, but how do you justify not even calling or interviewing Jim Harbaugh? Now that just sounds like, look, guy, look, buddy, we got the same agent. We're not gonna rock. We don't want you to feel a certain way, so we're not gonna call anybody. That's what I got. So I get the impression that they were looking out for each other. Then, because they got the same agent, Trace Armstrong is the agent. Now, then we didn't mention that they fired the running backs coach for whatever reason, David Walker. He was fired as well. Okay. End of the season, you fire Lou Getsy, your offensive coordinator. Now, when you put Justin in a situation with an offensive coordinator that had never called plays, so you got a rookie offensive coordinator with a second-year player going into a new offense. Failure. Failure. You end up firing him. So you fired your defensive coordinator, you cleaned up his mess. Then you fire a running backs coach for God knows whatever reason, David Walker, and you fire Luke Getsy at the end of the season. When a lot of people going into the Green Bay game, they were thinking, oh, if Justin and the Bears win this game, they might keep Justin.
Right.
No, 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 no. What in the hell kind of game plan you think Luke Getsy put together? Luke Getsy knew he was fired going into that Green Bay game. He knew that. So my thought process is there was very little of a game plan going in, not very much of a game plan going into Green Bay. So now you put Justin back in another predicament at the end of the season, at the end of his Bear tenure. So if it was me, I would have got rid of Eberflus. And like you said, reset the quarterback clock and the coaching clock. Now, Caleb Williams, because we could talk about everybody else. Roma Dunze. We can talk about DJ Moore. We can talk about the his name slipping my mind. The
Sweat.
defensive end,
Oh,
Montez Sweat,
Sweat. Yeah,
Jalen Johnson. We can talk about all those guys, but the guy with the most pressure to save these guys' job, Waldron. Oh, that slipped my mind. Shane Waldron, the new offensive coordinator, also has the same agent. You scratch
that's
my back,
there. You
I
go.
scratch his back.
Right.
Now, Caleb Williams has the pressure to save their jobs. Now, as far as Rand Poles is concerned, he's done a great job from the time he came to Chicago, salary cap hell, got the team back, and got rid of some big
Khalil
salaries.
Mack.
Yeah,
Yeah. Robert
he
Quinn.
got rid of some big salaries,
Roquan.
made the tough call on Roquan, and he put them in position, made the trade with the Carolina Panthers, and it ended up in a situation where he had the first pick. You know what I'm saying? When it got DJ Moore, he's done a tremendous job with access as far as the draft and the salary cap. But I cannot let it go that we got the same agent with a failing coach, and that's the only knock I got on Ryan Poles. You got a failing coach, and you also seems like Ryan Poles has a hard time admitting with his draft picks aren't playing well. Valus
Velvet.
Jones,
Velvet.
Dominique Robinson, just
Yeah.
to name a couple. So it's going to be interesting to see how long of a rope they give Caleb Williams if he's not playing well. But the pressure's on Caleb Williams, solely on Caleb Williams. This is why I'm in prove it mode with everything that's going on with Chicago Bears. Point blank. Point blank. Now, you think about if you would have had if you would have had you get Jim Harbaugh and let him be your coach, do you think you have a problem building a stadium?
Oh, it's easier to build that stadium then. But the city is flying high right now. So with off of the draft hype and the draft success and whatnot. So we all know. I think the stadium is going to get done. This is just a tangent. I
In
just think
in do you think they'll be in Chicago or Arlington
yes,
Heights? And where do
lakefront.
you want it? Where do you want them to be?
I want them to stay on the lakefront. I don't really have a dog in the fight versus Bears, Illinois. But I think they're gonna be on the lakefront. I think they're gonna be out there on the lake. They're gonna get the dome, and so they can get Super Bowls and Final Fours and all that kind of stuff. Because they're gonna atone for that mistake that's out there on Lakeshore Drive right now. What they should have did back in '03 is build a dome, but they wanted to have bear weather and all this other crap that they sold us. And we went there, and it get cold in that. We get cold in that stadium, and they finally coming around like, man, we can get some Super Bowls if we had the dome. So I think it's going to be out there on the lake next to McCormick Place. But going back to what you said about Poles and Flus, remember, as this thing stands now, Justin Fields did not get a pass for stripping the team down, having to get them out of salary cap hell, and basically not having enough talent to work with. His record as a starter, 10-28. What's Eberflus' record as the head coach? This is a little trivia moment. What's his record?
You stumping me because I wasn't ready to answer that question. I'm gonna just be honest with
10-24. So you telling me you can get rid of Justin, and the same criteria that we judged Justin for to get rid of him did not apply to the head coach, and he damn near has the same record. Come on, man. Come on, man.
you. Yeah. Hey man, I think we both feel the same way. I'm in prove it mode. And some interesting things going on with Justin. We'll touch on that. We'll touch on that some other time because I want to leave bait leading up to the football season. I think going forward with the NBA playoffs heating up in the second round, I think they're going to be a lot more interesting to talk about. And we'll see how it all comes down, man. But some things going on with Justin that I'll talk about later on down the road. Because I think when you talk about Justin Fields, some things with his career, some crucial, it's going to be crucial career threatening things, or it's going to make it or break it with his career coming up going to Pittsburgh. But I'm not going to let it all out right now. I'm pretty sure you heard it, but we'll get into it later. So
Yeah, yeah.
enjoy the games. We got the Boston Celtics. Is the Celtics? No, the
No,
Knicks.
no, the Knicks and the
The
Pacers.
Knicks. Yeah, the Knicks and the Pacers. Knicks up 19-15 right now. Watch the game. We get that back at you.
We out of here.